Hey guys, Dan here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a really cool product and at the same time trying to answer a question that you guys have been emailing me for years. Now the product we're going to take a look at is the Naneau K5 V2 photography pack. But before I get into what's special about this pack, I just want to talk to you about this kind of conundrum that you guys have been struggling with, and me as well. So as a photographer that likes to spend a decent amount of time outdoors doing adventure sports style photography, question I've been getting for a long time is which backpack should I use if I want to do overnight camping missions. Now a lot of you guys have been looking towards big photography packs, the kind of ones from F-Stop Gear. Those are very popular. The problem with those packs for overnight camping is that really I still find that they're not quite big enough to put tent, sleeping bag, stove, little extra food, and all these other kinds of things that you need for camping as well as your photography gear. So you end up strapping a lot of stuff to the outside of the bag. It can work, and I've definitely done that, but I was always wondering if there are other options. Now the other problem with using those bags is if you get the biggest bag you can from this kind of what we know as the regular photography backpacks, if you only need that large size for like 5 or 10% of your photography, then for the other 90%, you're carrying around a really big pack, which you don't necessarily need. So one other solution is to use a dedicated hiking pack and put like a camera block inside it to protect your photography gear. That's definitely another option I've explored. I have a big Arc'teryx 65-liter pack, and I put a photography little cube, padded cube inside that, and it works pretty well. Then this company called Naneau got in touch with me and they said, hey, we make a dedicated hiking pack for photographers. So this is the K5 V2, and we're going to do a review of this today and walk through all of the features for it. I expect this is going to be a fairly lengthy video actually, because as far as camera bag features go, there's probably more on this than any other backpack that I've reviewed, and I don't know how many bags I've reviewed, over 40 now I think. So this is a really interesting pack, so we're going to run through these and hopefully this answers a few questions about this this overall conundrum that photographers have been facing at the same time. So let me just start by saying I've added a few things into the bag, a couple of sleeping bags, just to give it some size and shape, so you guys can see it on the video a little bit better. I just want to use that right now to kind of give you an overall look at the size of it. This is an 80-liter pack, so this is a big backpack for hiking. It's definitely not even full with what I've put it in there, but I just wanted to pad it out a little bit to give you an idea of the overall size and shape of it, and then I'm going to remove those sleeping bags from there and get rid of them just so we can run through the features. So there you go, this is the kind of size we're talking. This is, like I said, this is a very big backpack. It's not the kind of backpack you're going to want to use for everyday usage. This is a pack that you get if you want to have two packs. So you have your regular photography pack, maybe, you know, in the 30-liter range is like a really good size that I'm finding these days. And then when you want to do your overnight camping missions, you have something like this, which is a big 80-liter pack. All right, so let me just go ahead and pop open this bag. Just get rid of these sleeping bags so we can concentrate on the features of this pack. All right, so now we're back to the pack on its own and all the things that come with it. I don't even really know where to start here. I guess we'll start right on the front. Now this has a couple of removable items that you can use on their own or as part of this pack. And the first of these is clipped to the front here. So what you can do is you have a pocket on the front here that is zippered. It's sizable enough to put your rain gear in, easily accessible. You've got a lot of loops on the front to tie things to or clip things to. But this whole pack, this little pack I should say, on the front here is actually totally removable with 4 clips. So there we go, we can take this kind of kangaroo pocket off, and we've got like I said, a pretty decent little bag here. And then with a Velcro tab at the back here, we can unhook a little shoulder strap. So what you have is a little shoulder bag. So it's kind of lightweight, and you know, I think for the most part for me, this would be more useful if you were kind of doing backpacking style traveling and you need a small shoulder bag when you get to your location. So it's maybe not something that I would carry up into the mountains or on an overnight camping mission. This particular accessory I think would work better if you were doing backpacking style traveling, which is another thing that people have emailed me about before, is they're going backpacking around the world and they just want to take one bag with them, but it needs to be photography capable. So this would be an interesting little accessory for that kind of thing. And then you've got a shoulder bag here, which you can use when you get to your location around cities, do your groceries with, something like that. So I'm going to put this aside. We'll have to kind of deconstruct this bag as we go along. Now, where else? On the top of the bag here, we've got a sizable top lid pocket. So, I mean, this is a huge pocket on the inside of that, and then at the same time, on the top of the bag, there is another huge pocket. This whole thing is adjustable in just about every way you can imagine, so you can really fill the bag up and kind of perch this on top of the pack, so you can really overstuff this if you need to. So there's lots and lots of storage space on both sides of the top of this. This top pocket here would be big enough to put a helmet in. So if you were doing something like going climbing at your location while you were camping out as well, you could definitely fit a climbing helmet in here, harness and stuff like that. So that's definitely another option that you can use that overall volume of this large top pocket for. Now, as you maybe saw when I was taking the sleeping bags out of this, there is a pocket on the bottom here as well. You definitely don't have to use that for a sleeping bag, but there is a sizable bottom section of this pack, as you can see. It is closed off from the other part of the pack, but there is a zipper here. So you can undo this zipper and then the whole thing becomes one large section. So you've got that option to close things off. As you saw, that was easily big enough to put a sleeping bag in. You know, with a small tent, you could probably get a tent in this bottom section as well. Clips everywhere, so there's plenty of room to clip stuff to the bottom of the pack as well. If you have excess things that don't fit in this pack, you've definitely got space and straps to clip stuff to the bottom here as well. Perhaps your rolled up foam mat or something like that. Another thing we have while we're on the bottom here is a zippered pocket, and the pack comes with a tethered rain cover. So it's tethered to the bag, so you're not going to lose it. It's nice and bright, so you know, if the weather's really bad, it's foggy, something like that, then this is going to be potentially useful for safety, keep you nice and visible. And I always like to see these big packs coming with a rain cover. I think that's good. So that's nicely stored away on the bottom of the pack. Where to next? I guess as we've got these laid out here, we'll also talk about these hip belt pockets. So decent sized pockets on both sides of the hip belt. You could put snacks in there, point and shoot camera, other things that you need quick access to. Like I said, they're on both sides of this, so lots of handy space that's right there when you need it. What else can we look at? What's the next thing on the list? I guess what we'll get to is, in fact, before I get to the main section, another Velcro section on the front here pops down a tripod cup. So here we have a little thing to hold the feet of your tripod, and then this strap up here will secure the top of your tripod. So this is the main place to carry a tripod on this pack, is right on the front here. I really like that this is attached to the bag permanently. You don't have to remember to bring something with you. It's always in there, it's always tucked away, and same with this strap here as well. You're not going to forget to pack any straps. I've used some other packs where they're accessories and they're very easy to leave behind at home. Then when you get there, you realize that you don't have any way to strap your tripod on, so that's really cool. Of course, you can always strap them on the bottom, on the sides as well, but this is really designed to go on the front like that. What else do we have? Little bungee cords here. These are great for securing hiking poles, things like that. You could definitely hook on ice axe on there as well if you're doing some climbing that required crampons and an ice axe as well No problem finding a place to clip that on. Let's get to the camera section then, because this is kind of where things get interesting. If you look on this side of the bag, you'll see this U-shaped zipper here. So I'm just going to go ahead and unzip this. So this is where we access the camera specific part of this backpack, because up until now everything's been kind of a generic hiking pack apart from the tripod cup on the front. So this is where this K5 V2 pack starts to stand out and really become much more photography specific. So in here we have our camera pack. Now immediately you can see lots of loops on here, elasticated pocket on the side of this. So you can see this is a little bit more than just your kind of standard padded camera block. So let's remove this. Put this aside just so you can see the space that it came from. You can kind of see it's got its own dedicated spot inside the pack there. Now while we talk about this, I'm going to put that pack aside and let's just have a look at the camera block, because on its own this is a full featured camera bag. We have a zippered pocket on the front of it, which we can open up and see inside. We've got a little clip for your memory card holder. We have a couple of elasticated pen pockets, organizers, things like that. On the back here, we have this mesh section, and behind this, we actually have some lightly padded, lightweight shoulder straps. So we can connect this up and turn this into a backpack. It's even got some little pieces of foam in here to make it a little bit more comfortable and also breathable on your back. So we can turn this into a backpack. As I said, we've got elasticated pockets on the side, loops and all kinds of other places to clip things to. Let's turn this around to the front. We can unzip. You can actually undo these Velcro tabs and unzip all the way. And now we have our camera block. So as you can see, this is quite a large amount of camera gear. We're talking 70 to 200 kind of long lens in the middle here, and 3 or 4 other lenses in a camera body. So it's pretty decent size. We have another zippered pocket and a Velcro pouch on the top here. So there's plenty of space for accessories. And then in here, we also have a shoulder strap. So if you don't want to wear it as a backpack, you can clip this on and turn it into a shoulder bag as well. So this is kind of the transformer of camera bags, really. Very nicely padded. I like the bright color. It makes it easy to find stuff in the dark or, you know, the late evening, early morning, things like that. I don't like camera blocks that have dark gray or black inserts. It's just a nightmare to find things. So I like to see these bright colors. That's really cool. And on its own, this is kind of a useful little camera bag, although ergonomically it might not be your first choice for an everyday camera bag, but it does the job very nicely for this purpose. So let's put this back aside and we'll come back to the main pack. So one of the things that's interesting about this, and this is going to be a little bit hard to demonstrate on the video, but I'll tell you about it. Now there's actually clips inside here, which you can see on the back of these panels. And what this allows you to do is you've got this little section that the camera block slides into, but you can unclip this and then this whole section collapses like this. So it means that you don't have to have this section in the middle for the camera block. If you wanted to use this just as a straight 80-liter hiking pack, you can do that. You can just collapse this central kind of holder for the camera block and just use it like any normal hiking pack. All right, so next up, what have we got? This is hard to show you, but there's a bladder pocket in here for a water bladder as well. I would estimate this will take a 3-liter bladder, and it's got the usual sort of place to clip the hose and hang the bladder up so it doesn't all sink to the bottom. But that's going to be very, very hard for me to show you that. But trust me, it's hidden inside here, and the hose comes out in the top corner here. Okay, so that'll clip down onto the shoulder straps. So I think there's a couple more features that we still need to go through here that I haven't shown you guys yet. The first one here is that once you have decided that you don't want to take your camera gear with you and you just want to use it as an 80-liter backpack, there's actually a full zipper around the top here. So we can have super easy access to the full 80 liter volume, just like that, okay? So easy to pack from the top to the bottom of the pack once you've got this opened up like that. But note that if you're using the camera block, then this sort of internal divider will be here. So it doesn't really make sense to try and use that unless you have this collapsed and you're not using the camera block there. So easy access if you're just using it for backpacking and not a camera bag. Now the other feature, this one's going to be a little bit harder to show you guys, but I'll try and explain it as best I can. On the shoulder straps here, you see these D-rings, okay? Now the camera block has some clips just inside where the backpack straps are hidden, and you can actually attach the camera bag to the front shoulder straps like that. So as you're hiking along, imagine this camera block sitting on your front here, okay? So the point of that is to give you quick access to your camera gear, because we have the U zipper on the front here. So if you've got this sitting on your front like this, opens up away from you, grab your camera super quickly. Now I tried this out. You'll see some photos on the Naneau website. If you go there, they have some photos of someone using it in this way. I tried this out. It's not for me, honestly. It might be for you, it might work for you. I found that this was too big to have on my front. I felt a bit like the Marshmallow Man, a little bit unwieldy with an 80 liter pack on my back and then this thing on the front. Especially if you have a lot of camera gear in here, because you can weigh this thing down really. This is quite a big pack, so having this on the front there just felt kind of awkward. And honestly, I appreciate the need or the desire for quick access to a camera and a lens while you're hiking without having to take the pack off. That makes a lot of sense to me. I normally use this little device. This is the Peak Design capture clip. I'll link to a review of this little thing as well. This is a quick release clip that goes on your belt or goes on your backpack shoulder strap or the hip belt of your backpack, and it gives you quick release access to a camera that already has a lens on it. So for me, this little thing does the job. I don't find that I really need to be hiking along and suddenly need instant access to my camera and 4 or 5 lenses. That just doesn't really happen. If I'm going to start swapping lenses around, then chances are I'm going to want to take all this stuff off me anyway, because if I'm getting really into the photography, I don't want to be doing it with an 80 liter pack on, especially with this thing on the front of it. So I didn't really find that that was something that I needed. Another usage case though possibly is that you want to use the full 80 liter volume of the pack and still carry camera gear on top of that. So then you could fill the pack with your overnight gear and then have your camera gear on the front. Personally, I think that that would be too much gear for most people. 80 liters is really pretty huge, and that's going to be an enormous weight to carry around. And then if you add this on the front as well, I think you're going to be laden down for anything but walks of a few kilometers. But the option's there if you really need to pack an enormous amount of gear from one place to the other. So let's now take a look at the straps and suspension system for this pack. Now right away we have a really cool feature here because we have an adjustable torso sizing. Now whenever I review a pack, I get the question, how's it going to work for a 6'4" guy and a 5'3" girl? And that's a really hard question to answer because camera bags don't usually have adjustable torso sizings. It's quite rare. The recent Mindshift First Light packs that I reviewed, they did have that. And now we can add the Naneau K5 V2 to that list. So yeah, we just basically pull this forwards, the back panel forwards, and you can hear there's a Velcro section in there. Once that's released, you can slide this up and down to adjust the torso length of the pack. Overall, the harness system was pretty comfortable. It's not the most comfortable pack I've ever worn. That award definitely goes to a dedicated 65 liter Arc'teryx hiking pack that I have. But frankly, that's in a whole other price range. And it's worth talking about the price of this pack as well, because this is $320. Now, I think that that price is pretty phenomenal, really, for the number of features you're getting and also the quality of the materials, the quality of, you know, all the accessories on the bag, the clips, the straps, everything just is really nicely made. And so $320 for a pack this size with all these you know, additional things. We've got the little shoulder bag that we looked at. We've got this thing. There's a lot going on here for that price. And in the outdoor adventure sports photography kind of pack market, I've been looking at packs for the last few years that range between $300 and $450 for these kind of bags. So $320 for one this big with all these features is a really good deal. I think that's pretty awesome. Just heading back to the back panel here, we've got this sort of mesh covered foam area. Gives you a little bit of ventilation here. What else do we have? We have sort of semi-stiff hip supports here. I think if there was one thing about the suspension and the harness that I would see changed, it's a little more rigidity in these hip belts. With a really laden down pack, I prefer to have a little bit more rigidity in there, sort of hugging my hips. But it's, you know, it's still perfectly comfortable. It's no, you know, no difference really to any kind of standard hiking pack. So no real complaints in that area. So I think by now we're ready to make some conclusions about this pack. I talked about a lot of the good things. There's a couple things that I want to talk about that aren't quite so good, in my opinion, after I've used this. I think for me, the biggest question about this pack is really this camera module that comes with it. On its own, this is quite a heavy bag. Now we've got all these handles, we've got shoulder straps, foam padding, pockets on the side, zippered pockets with more pockets in them, more pockets inside here. You know, this is a fully featured camera bag. And I kind of think that if you're backpacking, you're trying to keep things light anyway, and then you start taking camera gear, then you're really trying to lighten the load. And putting something in that's already quite heavy without even having any camera gear in it is a little bit overkill. I also think it's unnecessarily big as well. I don't really know what kind of hiking situation I would be in where I'd want to carry this much gear. If I'm taking my tent and my sleeping bag and food and stoves and all these kind of things, then I'm definitely going to be cutting down on the camera gear I'm taking. You know, a couple of lenses at most. So having this much space for camera gear is a little too much, I think. And when you start, you know, if you were to fill this up and then start taking your camping gear as well, you'd be, you know, you'd be talking 50, 60 pound backpack, I think, by the time you were done packing it. So I think that's, yeah, I think that's really the main thing that I was thinking about this pack, is this is a little bit overkill. The other thing that I was thinking is that this block kind of sits in the middle of the pack. Let me spin this around. If you remember, we have the U-shaped zipper on the side. So we have this pocket at the bottom and we have this pocket at the top, but it's quite hard to pack the bag with anything of length. You know, if you want to try and put your tent inside, there's not enough room at the bottom and there's not enough room at the top because this is sitting right in the middle. It would have made more sense to me for this to have been at the bottom of the pack, and then you have this big space above to pack longer items. I think that would have worked much better for me, and also then the density of the heavyweight camera gear would have been right at the bottom of the pack around the hips. I think that would have worked out a little bit better, but I'm sure there was reasons around that. But I definitely found that it was a little bit awkward to pack around this, and that is something that you don't have really if you use a normal large sort of 70-80 liter hiking pack with some other kind of third-party camera block inside it. So you definitely get a little bit more flexibility with that kind of system. So does this answer the question that you guys have been asking me for years? Is this the solution to overnight camping trips with your camera bag? And I think the question you have to ask yourself here is, do you already own a pack of this size that's capable of carrying all the stuff you need for overnight camping? If you do, I don't think this is enough of a leap forwards to sell your existing pack and run out and buy this. This works very well, especially at this price point. I think it's a fantastic price point. It's a very well made piece of kit, but I don't think it's really that much better than a regular hiking pack with a camera block inside it. So that's kind of the sticking point for me, is you actually lose a little bit of the flexibility that you have with some other solutions, because you basically have a really good hiking pack here and a really good camera bag, but you're somewhat limited into where you place this because it's quite large, and therefore it sort of has to go in the slot in the middle of the bag. Whereas if you already have an existing 60, 70, 80 liter hiking pack, as I do, you could buy some kind of a smaller camera block from pretty much any camera bag manufacturer and slot that within your pack wherever it most makes sense. You can kind of pack it around your existing gear. So I don't think this is a replacement if you've already got a hiking pack. I do think if you don't have a hiking pack, this is a good solution. It's a very well made and very well priced solution, especially if you do, for whatever reason, want to carry a really large amount of camera gear into the backcountry on overnight trips. Yeah, I think you'd be very happy with it in that situation. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, head to the links below the video. You'll see links there to the review on the website where there's a ton of photos. Hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel as well, because we'll have plenty more of this kind of content in the future. Thanks for watching.